Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Dead to Rights. I played on the Xbox Series X via backwards compatibility. It's also available on the Xbox Series S, Xbox One, apparently Xbox 360 and PS3, which I don't remember, but the GameCube, Xbox, and PS2 as well, if you've got those. So let's get into the story. This is a neo-noir mystery where you play as Jack Slate, and while investigating a construction site, I don't remember why, but he was there, you find your murdered father, and now you must investigate what happened to him. And the first thing I'm going to say is, this game is very clearly trying to have that neo-noir vibe, as it's described as one, but it really doesn't hit the dialogue. Like, it just doesn't land the neo-noir vibe as well as, you know, let's just go to it and say Max Payne. So this just feels, like, cheesy and not in a good way, which is going to lead me directly into the audio, and I'm going to say the voiceover work just doesn't work with the neo-noir dialogue that they go for. I mean, the script isn't as good, it's clearly not as well written as it could be, but the deliveries aren't there to make it work. Like, it takes a certain amount of effort to really land the whole noir vibe, and this game misses it, and it misses it by a lot. Then there's the music, which I really just don't remember. I don't remember it being offensive, I don't remember it being good, I remember there's music. That's not a good thing really overall, though. And then as for the sound effects, you know, you've got your different weapon sound effects, you've got your different bad guy sound effects, your different sound effects for things going on. It all fits with the time, so it's not the most high-end stuff, and you know, you can kind of notice that. Now let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot. And this is an interesting game because it's very clearly inspired by Max Payne because they go for the whole bullet time thing, which was big at the time. And obviously they're going for the whole neo-noir vibe. But the shooting just doesn't work as well. It relies on a lock-on system, which does not function great. Locking on to the wrong guy is a huge issue, and readjusting who you're locked onto could work way more smoothly than it does. They do something unique in that you have your pet dog who is a cop dog, and, you know, he can attack bad guys and grab a gun for you from them. And that's probably one of the best mechanics in the game because the shooting feels pretty crappy. But then there's a whole lot of hand-to-hand combat, and that's really limited and crappy as well. And sometimes you get stuck with these like fixed cameras and they don't work great, but even when you are trying to move the camera, you don't have full control over the camera. You don't have vertical control over the camera, just horizontal, and that's inverse, which is painful. Which, yeah, I know, that's dipping a bit into controls, but still. The camera in general is not your friend in this game, is my point. But this game also has a bunch of shitty little mini-games that don't really add anything to the game. I mean, they're there and they're fine, but like I said, they don't necessarily add anything. Like, there's a part where you use your dog to sniff out bombs, but there's really no sniff out mechanic. You really just kind of wander the area and walk up to the bomb and voila. And it's completely unnecessary. But then there's some on-the-rail moments that just don't work well, like they were throwing shit at the wall hoping it would stick. I think the most frustrating thing for me personally was there's a character named Eve and you have to protect her, and she has zero survival instinct. So if you're trying to protect her, you're putting yourself in harm's way and you're probably going to die. But if you're doing what you need to stay alive, she's going to die. And really, I felt like I got through that part simply due to the number of times I attempted it rather than any amount of actual skill applied, because like I said, if you're doing what you need to stay alive, she dies. But if you try and protect her, you're probably gonna die. So that part was just really unpleasant, and it dragged the entire experience down because it was just an infuriating moment, and it goes on way too long. That kind of sums up a lot about this game. Nothing does as well as it could do, and so it just drags everything down and makes it feel so much longer than it really is. Because even like your bullet time doesn't work as well as you'd like it to. Picking up new weapons and picking up health packs, none of that works as well as it should or could, and it makes the game just unenjoyable. And I guess I already touched on them a little bit earlier, but let's get into the controls. As I already mentioned, I don't think they're well mapped out. It's a really weird control scheme. But then you have the camera, which is just bad. Like I said, you can't control it vertically. You can do a manual aim thing with it, but that's not very clean, and generally you're taking too many bullets and that takes way too long to do, so that doesn't work out well. The inverted left and right camera controls are weird and nonsensical. I guess the buttons responded well enough when I was pressing them, but everything else felt like garbage. Like, movement is really bad and imprecise, and you need it to be precise. The camera is not great. So from a control standpoint, not happy with the game. Oh, also in the controls, having the B button be grab enemies and press yourself against a wall does not work great. The amount of times that I pressed myself against a wall when I was trying to grab a human shield didn't help at all. Got me killed a lot. It was awesome. Then last but not least, graphics and visuals. As I mentioned, this is an older game. The version I was playing was the Xbox version, and it has not aged well. I mean, it's not the only game we've ever seen that's not aged well, but, you know, when you're already not enjoying a game, graphics that have not aged well don't help the experience as a whole. This game doesn't have a lot of places. They reuse some places, but I do think they did as well as they could trying to create that vibe. They don't land it again, though. Another positive I would say is, obviously because this was before the days of, hey, realism is brown, this is actually a fairly colorful game, and I do like that. I don't necessarily enjoy the character design. I think some of the enemy designs are kind of interesting. Your character is pretty boring in my opinion. The world works well enough, but this being an Xbox game, like I said, visually it really just doesn't hold up well, and with all the other negatives, you know, bad visuals, you feel it just a little bit more. And how can I forget the one character that's like a terrible Christopher Walken impression? What the fuck was that? But to wrap this up, I did not have a good time with this. I regret spending money on this. I decided to replay this because I was like, hey, that'd be fun. I remember playing this game back when. But now replaying it, I'm sitting there going, did I enjoy it back then? Did I even beat it back then? I don't remember. I'm guessing not. But I can comfortably tell you, this game does not hold up well today and is not worth any amount of money. Full-blown skip. Please do not. Just please do not. Let me take the abuse for you. Okay, in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, have you ever replayed a game and been like, I don't remember too much about this apart from I played this once upon a time? And was it worth revisiting or not? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.